return now to our conversation with Frank Russo. He is a candidate for governor in the state of Florida. And so I'll ask you about the situation in Iran. You're running for governor of Florida. The state of Florida plays a very pivotal role in the politics of the United States. What are your opinions on Iran? Should we be there?
Well, my opinion is we need to focus on families in the state of Florida, number one. As far as Iran, we don't want to have these costs affecting our families. So what happens is the cost of the war, who's going to take that burden on, the extra taxes? And I don't want that to be the family's burden. So our families can't take any more financial burden. We need to reduce their financial burden.
So tell us, for those who don't know anything about you, we've talked about your insurance chops a little bit with regard to the wildfires. Tell us about your background and why you're running for office.
Well, my background is I came from humble beginnings, a family of 11, and I'm watching how the world is fast-paced, moving through technology, and I'm watching inflation hurt the families. So our families are being broken apart every day. Survival is becoming harder and harder. Inflation's out of control. So what are we doing to protect the families? What are we doing to keep the families together? They can't handle any more financial burdens. So we need a governor that focuses on the family. Our corporate world is doing great. The infrastructure, now it's time to focus on the families. So as governor, that's going to be my primary focus, the families.
Your main platform issue on your website is humanity over the dollar.
Right.
Talk about that a little bit.
So we have everybody now chasing the dollar. So your typical politicians raising money, they're getting in debt. So when a politician gets $100 million in their funds, that's $100 million they're in debt. So before they could focus on the family, they have to first pay off all these corporations. Everybody that supports these campaigns has to be paid back. So where is the time going to be for the families? So basically, they're too broke to pay attention. That's the way I grew up, very broke. So the bottom line is you have to have a governor that puts families first. So that's one of my biggest in my platform. Humanity over dollar means putting people before profits.
So you're running, for those I know people are dying to know, Democrat, Republican. It's surprising you have no party affiliation.
Yeah, you can't. In order to do what I want to do and what I'm going to do, you cannot be part of any party. You have to streamline government. You have to basically be in a position to where you're not answering to any corporate world, you're answering to the families.
How about PACs? One of the things that I have asked others who are running for elected office in the state of Florida is whether or not they would accept PAC money. It's no secret that APAC controls the purse strings of many congressional leaders, some would argue, and some people say that they're okay taking money from different PACs. Some people say that they're not. Others say that they will review them on a case-by-case basis because it is almost impossible, many would argue, many elected officials would argue, to run and continue to be successful in a campaign without the support of special interest money. Would you accept money from PACs? If so, how would you discern them? And if not, how is it possible to run?
Yeah, well, you're 100% correct. You need money to run. It's money and votes. However, it depends on what agreement you're agreeing to with the PACs. So what I'm told, you're not supposed to be involved in the PAC. So if a PAC gives money to my campaign, as long as I don't have an agreement to pay anybody back, then I'm okay with taking the money. But I'm not selling my soul to any PAC or any corporation. So I'm doing this strictly on my own money. I don't want any money to be the governor. It's basically a $250,000 salary. I'm here to serve the people. So you're gonna have one governor that truly is concerned about families. And that's where I'm putting my focus, putting families first.
And you say on your website that you'll return that salary.
Yes, I don't think we should be serving the people getting rich off the government. No, when you're in the government, you're here to serve the people, not the people serve you. So again, when I'm governor, because I'll be the next governor, because the families will understand who's providing support for them versus continuing to support for the corporations of the world.
So you talk about family, children's, workers, and communities, putting that focus for those groups at the center of leadership.
Yes,
from
they
your
would
website.
have the first position. So my door will be open to them first, and then after that, we'll see what corporate world is going to be allowed inside.
That sounds very utopian. Is that realistic?
Yeah, it's realistic as long as you're not in debt to the corporations. That's very realistic. It's when you're in debt. If you have $100 million that you just raised, you're too broke to pay attention to the families. Okay, I've been part of the corporate world. There's no humanity inside the corporate world. It's all about ROI, return on investment. That's the bottom line.
So talk about and I'll say my guest is Frank J. Russo. He is a candidate for governor in the state of Florida. So talk about property taxes. What would you do to lower property taxes in the state if you think they should be lowered?
Well, this is why you don't borrow $100 million in your campaign, because what happens is our local governments, we have to remember we're all human beings here. So everybody, now that AI is going to be replacing jobs, we have to remember that everybody is going to take cuts. So we have to have a governor that can't be worried about his political friends. He's got to go in there and streamline the budgets of local governments. So property taxes, if you're on a fixed income, you are not going to pay property taxes. We're going to try to make it to where an average house, if you're living on fixed income, then property taxes are going to go away, as long as you're in a decent house. But if you're in $1 million house, basically I'm going to limit it to $500,000 and below. So if you have a house up to $500,000, you won't be subject to any property taxes.
So up to $500,000, no property taxes, and then above $500,000.
Well, they'll be taxed, yes. At that point, if you can afford to live in $1 million home, you can afford to pay property taxes.
So will there be levels, or will there be a flat property tax?
I believe it should, based on the affordability. So if you have families that are struggling, living on Social Security, seniors, veterans, they can't be burdened anymore. We have to reduce their family
Since
burden.
you started talking about veterans, do you think that we are doing enough for veterans? I'll ask in the state of Florida, but also in this country.
No, I don't think we are, because also what our president's doing now with plant medicine, I believe the veterans should have the ability to do what it takes to help them with their PTSD.
With plant medicine, specifically cannabis.
Yes, we're finding different ways to heal, and there's a lot of trauma that we need to help.
So you're open to those discussions?
Oh, definitely.
Are there other things for the military community, because so many of our listening audience are members of the military or members of military families, that you think are priority items for your administration if you were to get elected?
Yes, military number one. I mean, they put their life out there for us, for our protection, so they deserve 100% of my respect. So their families, they're human beings that need respect, especially what they're doing now for us, protecting the U.S.
My guest is Frank J. Russo. He is a candidate for governor in the state of Florida. When we come back from the commercial break, we will talk about detention centers, education, and other things that are important to Floridians. WOKV.